The biggest hump in life that you have to get over is yourself. Okay? A lot of times, in fact, most times, the most debilitating chains that bind you are not the physical things, are not the things that are outside of you, not people. It's the mental chains that you have, all right? The mental limitations that you have given yourself and the mental limitations that you have been handed, that you have accepted, the crutches, the beliefs. And once you can free yourself from those crutches, those beliefs, those handicaps, you will find that you will become immensely powerful and successful. Not unless and not until. Okay? I'm having this conversation almost based off of Juneteenth. And I had an interesting conversation with my father many years ago. And we were talking about slavery. And mind you, this is not just a conversation for black people. This is a conversation for everyone. We're talking about slavery. Okay? And I saw a man in chains. And rightfully I called him a slave. And my father said, that right there is not a slave. He says that man is being held captive. He says a true slave doesn't need chains, because a true slave is chained in the mind. He said, how else do you believe that on a slave plantation back then, where you had 2 overseers, maybe a few more, that all they had was horseback, no radios, no large wire fences, could keep over 100 men, and at that time he pointed himself, built like me, at bay. He says you chain their minds. Okay? You chain their minds. You make them so docile to the point that they look to you for everything they need, and they fear every word you say. So even when you're not around, those chains that you have put in their mind remain. They're so fearful they cannot take action for themselves. They're so dependent that they're sitting there waiting for you to give them what they can do for themselves, what they have the physical power to do, but they don't have the mental capacity. Why? Because that capacity has been chained. I look at people in our society, and I see people consistently refreshing their mental chains. Let me tell you how you do that. We talk about diet all the time, right? Your diet is more than just what you eat. Your diet is what you've been fed since you were a child. That is the diet that you have. That is the diet that's responsible for bringing you to where you are, physically and mentally. Let's look at a lot of people, what they do with their children. A lot of the limitations that a lot of people have are limitations that were handed to them from their parents, from their environment, from the things that they expose themselves to. When we talk about diet, your diet is once again more than just what you eat. It's who you expose yourself to, it's what you listen to, it's what you read, it's what you watch. And those things primarily are responsible for your freedom and or your captivity, for your belief in your capacity or your belief in your limitations, for your willingness to take action on your own behalf or your belief that someone is coming to take action for you. And there's varying levels of bondage. Okay? Right now, currently, I am running an experiment. I'm running a social media experiment just to prove to you guys how many people are in bondage and don't even realize it. How many people are laying on their backs waiting for someone to come and save them and they don't even realize it. How many people use so much energy, so much focus, so much of their time believing that someone else is coming to save them. You know, I had a good friend of mine, and I had known her for almost 2 decades. And one day I got very frustrated with her, and I told her point blank, Jesus is not coming to save you. No one's going to hand you what you need. You're going to have to drop your delusions and adjust yourself and get what you need. And she got so upset, tears in her eyes. Yes, he is coming to save me. And now, I think we've gone about 8 years. Haven't spoken. But she's in the exact same position that she was in, only worse, at this point. And yet, still believes that she is going to be saved. She's going to be rescued. The best of her life is going to be handed to her without her making any changes or adjustments. That's what mental bondage does to you. And a lot of times, a lot of people are refreshing their bondage all the time. With the music they listen to, with the people you listen to, with the cultures you follow, with the ideals and ideas that you follow. Because check this out, the people who are vested in your remaining limited understand that as long as they can control your mind, they control you. As long as they can control what you believe, they control you. It doesn't matter what they do to you. They always know what you're not going to do. You're not going to act on your own behalf. You're going to do as you have been told. You're going to do as you've been trained. You're going to do as you believe, and they control what you've been told, what you're being told, what you believe, what you think, and what you're going to do, because all those things fall in line. And until you take a full assessment of what I'm talking about and go back and actually challenge all your beliefs, especially the ones that bind you, all the ones that you would do something but, or you're waiting for such and such. I had the luxury of having phenomenal parents who told me literally that you can be anything you want if you apply yourself. Anything you want if you apply yourself. And yes, I had the luxury of growing up a child with means, and I don't make any secrets about that. But you see, here's the part that a lot of people forget, that we also lost everything. So when I first moved to the United States, we were dead broke. For the first 5 years in this country, I didn't have enough money to buy my own jeans. I remember being in college, and I borrowed a pair of sneakers from one of my friends. Never forget him, Lenny Beck. And he loaned me a pair of his Air Max sneakers, and that's what I wore for the entire time I was in college. Now, a lot of people will say, well, that's not much. Yeah, but I'll tell you what. It's not much from somebody who is born poor, But when you had never had experienced that before, right, it could knock you down. But it didn't knock me down, because I was always told that money doesn't make you. Even though we have money, that doesn't make you. Your character makes you. And money comes and goes, and you can lose it and you'll get it back, as long as you have this and you have this right here. And so that's what I used. Okay? I was told I could be anything I wanted to be if I applied myself. Nothing could stop me if I put my mind to it. And with that, I forged out into the world. Everywhere I've ever gone, especially in the United States, nobody in my family has ever done that. I saw the world of the Wall Street. I said, you know what? I could do that. I want to do that. And guess what? I did it. And I did it well. All right? I saw social media. Didn't know anything about that. You know, in 2015, I didn't even know what a DM was, and wasn't active at all. Here we are. Okay? Why is that? Belief. No chains. And don't get me wrong, at some point in time, sometimes we all adopt some chains. And you know what? Every now and then it's good to refresh your belief. Why do you believe that? Why do you believe you can't do that? Who said you can't do that? That is what I had to say to myself when I started letting the people around me, society around me, convince me when I was 34 years old and when my mother died that I was supposed to be declining. I was supposed to be getting older. My knee hurting and my hip hurting and me gaining a little bit of weight. All these things were things that, that's what happens when you start to approach 40. You decline. And I had to check myself, one of those checkups, and said, is that true? Who says that? Where is that written? Where is that a fact? And I challenged myself. I said, like I said, I don't know how good I'm going to be, but I know I can be better than this. And I know I don't have to subscribe to the limitations that you set, because I set my limitations. And if I say that I am unlimited, all I have to do is apply that every single day. Go at life as if I'm unlimited. And every limit that I have, destroy it. Every limit that I have, push past it, or at least try. Okay? And you will be amazed what would happen when you actually take that as your approach. But first, you have to break the chains that bind you. You have to get rid of those things in your mind that tell you you can't, you shouldn't, that tell you wait for someone else to do it for you. And it doesn't mean that I am unstoppable. What it means is I am not going to be the one that stops me. And if you're trying to stop me, make sure you come ready, because I'm not just going to let you do that. So like I said, I'm running this experiment because I see these things on social media all the time, and it really bothers me. It bothers me because it shows the delusion of the common man. All right? And so, like I said, I'm running this experiment, and I would like for you guys, I'm going to share this experiment with you guys, and I'd like for you to just be quiet and watch it. A couple weeks ago, I saw this post that says, breaking news. God is going to deliver you. I forget what it says. Breaking news. In fact, I'll read it to you. Hold on one second, because I want you to know exactly what it says. Breaking news. Tomorrow morning, God is about to drop you a miracle that will cancel all your worries in life. And every time I see stuff like that, it gets on my nerves. Because I'm like, who really believes that? Who really believes you're just going to sit down and God's just going to come and just change your life? And it says, save this post for blessings and type yes to claim it and share it with someone who needs this blessing. And I looked at the post and it came from a page that it didn't have that. I mean, it had a minuscule amount of followers, but it had almost 10,000 plus likes and comments. Yes, I claim this in the name of Jesus and all that kind of stuff like that. And that's just to show you, right? Even though you have people out there who are pretending to be working, who are pretending to be taking action on their own behalf, that there's a portion of their brain, their focus, and their mind that really believes that someone is going to come and do it for them. So in actuality, they're not really even swimming or trying that hard. Okay? They're basically just treading water, waiting for this help to show up. That's the only reason why you even acknowledge something like that. That's the only reason why you even comment on something like that. That's the only reason why you would waste your time to type yes, hit send, and then probably share it. Yeah, only reason why. Because it shows a disconnect. It shows a dependency. It shows a weakness. And it shows exactly why our society is where it is today. It shows why we are mediocre. It shows why we're so easily controlled. It shows what you actually believe. And it shows the amount of bondage that exists out there. There's belief. Okay? And the people that sell you faith are people that know that you're going to do nothing. Especially faith in something you cannot see. It's designed to keep you exactly where you are. It's designed to keep you chained. It's designed to control you. Okay? And I know this might ruffle a few people's feathers, right? But you think about it. After celebrating Juneteenth on Sunday, you think about that. How many years did those people pray, believe, hope? But you had strapping men, capable people, and they did nothing because they were told to believe, they were told to pray. They were told to hope. They were told that if they're meek, they would inherit. They were told, hey, I got your back. They're still being told that. And they're still waiting. They're still meek. Now they sell you prosperity. If you believe God will bless you with riches. So I want y'all to watch that post. Okay? And here's a couple of things that you should know. There's a quote, you might want to check it out. And it says, give power and influence to the rich and give the rest religion. That is an actual quote from Socrates, the father of philosophy. And I believe that post outdates most organized religions. How many people know what the root word of religion is? It's a Latin word called religere. How many people know what that actually means, religere? It means control. Because once I can control what you believe, I control what you think, and I control what you're going to do. And I control most especially through scaring the living death out of you, what you're not going to do. You're not going to take action on your own behalf. You're going to sit there and you're going to wait for me to feed you, to free you, to do the things for you that you can otherwise do for yourself. And all I have to do is keep sending you different people to keep reinforcing the beliefs. And they reinforce the beliefs of you being less than in music. When you walk around and call yourself all kinds of demeaning names, they reinforce in you the belief that somebody else is going to come and save you when they give advantage to some people. But hey, every time they give them advantage, guess what? They're supposed to get up there and say, thank you, God, for letting us win this championship. You know, I trust in God. Like God really cared who won the Redskins and Cowboys game. I see it all the time, and we take it for granted. Okay? We take it for granted. We don't realize that the programming, right, the bondages are being reinforced and tightened every time you see someone on TV after having worked their asses off to achieve something, right? Well, first of all, I want to give the glory to God for helping me win this boxing match where I knocked this other guy out. Yeah. Then you think about it and say, is that what you think God does? God's greatest gift to you is your unlimited potential. Your gift back to God and His children is to use that potential to its fullest capacity. And if you're sitting there waiting for God to give you more, God is looking at you saying, you haven't even used what I've given you. Have you maximized your potential? Have you done everything you can do to be an asset to the people around you? What are you putting out there? Because you see, here's the thing. What you let in influences what you put out. If you let a bunch of toxic thoughts, toxic music, and don't get me wrong, when we're younger, we've all been there, but at some point in time, we have to have a certain level of introspect. What am I putting out there? And you see, the people who need you to be less than, okay, need for you to believe that you're not that good, that you're not that great, that God doesn't live within you. They need you to believe that you are not worthy, that your worthiness has to come from your looking up to this thing. You have not been given all you need. You need to get more. You need to wait. So let's watch. Let's watch and see what happens. I'll share it with you. But I believe it's going to be an unfortunate situation. I believe that the point will be proven. I believe that, you know what? People are going to be who they are. And people are going to, and I'm seeing it already, the yes 100, the amens, you know, and it just exhibits the weakness of the human spirit. You know, and it's unfortunate. But you know, one thing I realized, when it comes down to mental chains and binds, that it is not my responsibility to wake up the people who are sleeping. Because they're going to continue to be who they are. And if that's you, you're going to continue to be who you are, and I'm not mad at you. So by no means should you be mad at me. Right? Messages like this are intended to wake up you, who knows something isn't right, but you just haven't been able to put your finger on it. Right? This is about waking up like-minded souls. Because you'll be surprised what will happen if you get a small group of people moving in the right direction. You create momentum. And sadly, guess what? The people who are the ones asleep, the ones who are followers, they'll follow. But we have to get enough people moving in the right direction, and we have to do something about this now. Okay? We do. You have a lot of people out there pretending as if they are strong, as if they're leaders, and they're anything but. Okay? They're anything but. You know, I laughed one time when this guy told me, we were talking, he says, "You ever seen a herd of buffalo running away from a lion?" And I said, "Yeah, we've seen it on a nature show." He said, "How many of those buffalo do you think actually saw the lion?" And I'm like, "Probably 2." He said, "Yes, 2. 2 of the ones that were probably trusted, the ones that had the most intuition, they saw or smelled the lion and they took off. And the 3 or 4 that were standing around them who trusted their judgment didn't have to see the lion, they took off too. And before you know it, there were 10 running in one direction, and all the weak ones, all the ones who don't have intuition, guess what they did? They just followed. How many people are following things they've never seen, never experienced? They're just repeating and going along with what they've been handed their entire lives. How many people put on chains of bondage, belief systems, and will proudly say that they believe things that they have never experienced and never seen. They allow themselves to be hamstringed by things. You know, I was watching a documentary yesterday on Jim Jones. Belief is a very, very dangerous thing. 900 people were brainwashed to the point they believed in a man so much that they committed suicide because he told them to. And he had no more proof of what he was saying than the people who believed that post. All they need to do is get the right person to say it to you. And if you're weak enough in the mind, you believe it. And they come along and they reinforce it every single day. And it's amazing what happens when something gets repeated in your mind every single day. Once again, that's that diet. Those songs, you keep listening to those songs that celebrate a lifestyle, that put ideas and images in your head about yourself, about other people, right? After a while, it becomes fact in your mind. And it either empowers you or it paralyzes you. And everybody always says, no, not me. Yes, you. Take a good look at yourself and ask yourself, what chains do you have in your mind that are binding you? And when are you going to free yourself? Because only you can free you.